Welcome to the Massacre Matinee.
Real quick before this episode starts, I just want to apologize for the audio quality on this one. It was still new to me trying to set up a third microphone in the podcast recording setup, but I'm still not quite happy with how it turned out. However, I'm very proud and pleased of how Faith's episode turned out. Just bear with us for these audio issues. I promise it will be fixed for the future. Thanks.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. You did beat me to it, bitch. Welcome back to the matinee. It's time for the frog to host her first episode. Are you ready, Faith?
I am so ready.
Who are you telling us about? What are you telling us about? Is it a murder? Is it a massacre? Is it a matinee?
What should we giddy up for?
It's technically neither. None of the above. It's possible for a murder, multiple murder. It's technically a kidnapping, but it is a survival story.
Oh my god, it's all
so
of the
it's
above.
a really bad, really dark, really every trigger under the
Leave
sun.
It to you to just
but it has
go
a good
all
story
in on your first.
Oh my god,
hand.
we're having fucking doozies.
This is awesome. Okay, so
yes, trigger warning. It's got rape, sexual assault, kidnapping, young children. It's got about the worst of the worst. It's got miscarriages. It's a very rough one.
It's fucked up.
But keep in mind, there's a somewhat happy story ending.
Okay.
Everyone survives. Doesn't happen.
Oh man, it's kind of like my Africa story that I had.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that is
it's
a
about
good
just
one.
as
Yeah,
rough.
yeah,
It's a doozy. It's
My
a
mom
doozy.
messaged me after
But
the
it's a feel-good
African one. It
doozy
was
in the
just
end.
like, oh my god.
And you know what's crazy is Faith actually told both of us when she started researching this, and it was like right after she listened to right after the Africa one came out. She's like, "Oh man, you guys, I've got a story."
I think we should clarify. We
fantastic.
all work together.
We do.
So we can all
By the
tell.
way.
We're actually starting to become known as like a little cult gang thing.
Oh my
We are not a
God.
cult or a gang.
We are not.
I just love how people thought that
When
like
you-
you and I were friends before I started working there. They were like,
They thought that we knew each
How
other
long?
beforehand, and it's like, no, we're both just.
yeah, Becky came up to her and was like, how long have you known Caitlin before doing
Yeah,
that?
and
they were like,
I looked at
"Huh?"
Becky. I was like, "When did she start here again?" About a week after that.
Yeah.
I met her through Tommy.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, well, I mean, everybody meets everybody."
By the way,
through
Tommy, I know you don't listen to this, but you're fucking gonna be a part of it. I just call him.
We got
gonna make you.
We got him to agree because he said he refuses to listen to the episodes. But if we need a military consultant, we will call him during the recording.
Okay,
and he will
perfect.
answer.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to listen to it. It just has to participate.
Well, I had asked him, so in the Murder Muscles episode, I mentioned the weightlifting situation and how it was possibly a highly technical term. It's not a highly technical term. I'm just kind of stupid. He actually just looked at me really confused and was like, "What the fuck?"
It also didn't seem. It was like a official, unofficial kind of event. It seemed like.
It seemed like in that particular situation. So, do tell about this absolute chaos of a case that involves all sorts of different. It's Giddyup, sluts. It's something.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything. Well, this is about Ariel Castro, and he's an absolute douche canoe, wet sock, piece of shit human being. So we're not going to focus very much on him until the end. It's kind of different.
I love that description.
Yeah,
A douche
he
canoe,
deserves it.
wet sock.
Piece of shit.
I feel very confident in the fact that this person is possibly dead now, based on how set in you were about saying that. Like your eye.
I have a feeling this took
guy.
place in like the 80s or early 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Oh shit.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, he grew up in the 80s, you know, his background, but the crime starts in the early 2000s and goes on until about 2013.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He is
So
the
it was
worst kind of
ongoing.
piece of shit wet sock ever. But we're going to get into his background and some of what makes sense with the psychology maybe towards the end, because fuck him.
He doesn't need the spotlight.
Yeah, not at all. We're going to give the spotlight to the victims, the survivors, because they are bad bitches.
Bad
bitches.
bitches are us.
So, ironically, this is kind of similar to your last story that you did, where it takes place in Cleveland, Ohio. So, not in Michigan, but really close to lower Michigan. All right, so the first bad bitch is Michelle Knight, and she is 21. And she has a really rough upbringing, and I want to get into it a little bit because it kind of makes sense in
Is
how
this a
she
list
was.
of victims?
Hmm?
Is this a list of victims or like kidnap victims, rape victims, whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna go by each victim.
Okay.
And then at the end, I'll give a background.
Beautiful.
But it's very perfect linear timeline
I
going
like-
this way
I
because
like
they
linear
all
timelines, I'm
fall
not gonna
in
lie.
cycle.
I love me a good
I'm
number
just,
line.
like I said, skipping the highlight on Ariel because he does not deserve it. So we're gonna give him very limited at the end because I do want to get into it because I'm curious. Everyone's always curious, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
But we're gonna start with Michelle Knight. She's a single mother. She's 21. But I do want to get into her background a little bit. She comes from a 3-child household with parents that it's not really said anywhere what their issue was and why they can't hold down a job and create stability for their children. But the most long concurrent home she had was a station wagon. So she lived in a station wagon with her mom and her dad and her 2 younger brothers.
That's cramped.
When they weren't living in this station wagon, they had occasional houses with multiple roommates, friends of family, really poor, low income.
It just kind of seemed like parents that didn't know how to make the financial decisions.
Yes. She never says anything about them being directly abusive or not loving her in any way, but they definitely did not provide for her and create safety, and they bounced around. She said a lot whenever they did get to shower, she specifically made sure her younger siblings got extra good washings and their teeth brushed because she didn't know when they would get one.
But
She
she
was
was absolute
squalor.
barest fucking minimum. Not even.
She was a mini mom, to say the least, from the beginning. So she not only didn't get a childhood just because of the conditions she was under, but she was also caring for her younger siblings because they were there, but just not there. I'm assuming, I want to say alcohol or drugs. Something had been going on, but
For sure.
no matter where I tried to research, you can't really come up with an answer for that. But it's horrible to say the least. And then what really takes the cake is around 12, and one of the times they're living in a home, a family friend starts raping her. This goes on from 12 until 15,
Wow.
as they periodically are living in the home with this family friend and going back. By 15, she says, fuck this shit. I'm absolutely done with this. And she runs away. She packs a little bag and she finds an underpass in Cleveland, Ohio. And she finds a trash can to sleep in. And she's 4'7", just a little itty bitty thing.
Tiny little baby.
15.
4'7" at 15 is
Oh my
pretty.
god, but poor girl.
Right?
Yeah.
Worse.
While she's sleeping in this underpass, at one point, she meets a man called Sniper. Hold on. Hold the judgment.
Okay.
He approaches her and he says, I feel bad for you. I want to help you out. I want to give you a place to stay, some food, somewhere to live. All I need you to do for me is run some drugs. All right.
Nobody's gonna suspect a 4'7" 15-year-old to be.
She takes the offer. He puts her in an apartment. He gives her food, gives her money, never tries anything with her. Never tries anything sexual, like a brother. There's also another 16-year-old boy that's also another drug runner teenager that Sniper from the streets. They're a cute little family doing their thing. He even gives her
doing
Sniper.
God's work.
Sniper even gives her a 22 at one point to protect herself. And throughout this 2 years, neither one of these boys touch her. This man is what they never try anything with her. Nothing but respect. Just runs the drugs for a Sniper. It's all great until he gets raided.
Of course.
When Sniper's getting raided, both Roderick is the other boy's name and Michelle are able to run off. So they don't get busted or anything. But Michelle goes right back to what she knows is the underpass. Back to the underpass and that trash can. She's there for a short period before a family friend tells her father that he spotted her under this underpass.
Shit.
Dad goes and drags her butt home, where she immediately starts to get raped by the family friend again. This goes on. They enroll her back into school. This goes on until she's 17. And at this point, she has a high school boyfriend, and she ends up getting pregnant. The high school boyfriend's baby.
I was gonna say.
Full disclosure there. I'm not gonna make you wonder on that one. It's the high school boyfriend's baby, thankfully, but she ends up finding out he is seeing another girl, and when he's given the choice, she chooses.
Oh, yeah, because
she's a single mom.
Well, she's not pregnant, so I mean.
Yeah.
So she's a single mom. She's 17. And she's still getting raped. At this point, this is when she starts fighting back. She finally starts fighting off her attacker. She's pregnant, and that switch finally flips.
She's got something worth fighting for in her eyes. Yeah.
Absolutely not. And she starts fighting him off, and she knows this isn't a good situation. So she ends up going and living with her mom, who had split from her dad at one point. Why she didn't go with her mom sooner, I don't know. It's also not explained. But at this point, she finally goes and stays with her mom, who has a new boyfriend who is an alcoholic.
One
and
toxic place to another.
Yeah, she's
exactly
very aware
what I was about to say.
that this is not safe for her son that is now born. She's 18. She has a son who's named Joey. So very aware it's not safe for him.
Right.
She's just out of high school. She's got no job, nothing.
Yeah.
Look at the background. She has no family, really, you know. So she's taking the best option she has. She goes and lives with her mom and her alcoholic boyfriend. She gets a job as a waitress. She's trying to save money and get her own place. Get somewhere safe for her and Joey to live. Will be fine.
Right.
Well, one day while she's working, she comes home and discovers that Joey's been injured. Her mom let the boyfriend watch the kid, and he somehow got his leg fractured when her mother's boyfriend picked up her 2-year-old.
He picked him up by his leg or some shit, didn't he?
Michelle rushes Joey to the ER, obviously, and
they should have done that a long time ago.
She rushes Joey to the ER. And she's too afraid that they're going to take Joey away if they know he's unsafe at home. So she lies. And she says Joey was hurt at the playground. Unbeknownst to her, the mom's boyfriend has a change of heart, apparently. I don't know if he's sobered up or something. He calls the hospital and he admits what he does. While she's there in the hospital. Lying to the ER doctor.
Then pissed off at her for lying.
They immediately remove Joey from custody. Because you're clearly lying to me. He's not safe at home. They take Joey from her. Devastating. To shortly recap this, she spends the next few months moving out into a friend's home, continuing her job as a waitress, saving money, going through the steps to get Joey back. Because she's no longer in that household. She's in a safe environment. She's working. She's getting her ducks in a row. Yeah. She goes through 2 different hearings. She's on her final 3rd hearing where she's going to be told, yes, you get him back. Like, he's going to be waiting at the courthouse to be given to her. She just got to show up. That's all she has to do at this point. This other hearing is about 4 hours from where she's at. Does not have a car. They offer her a ride to this hearing, and she declines because a family friend is supposed to give her a ride. 10 minutes before she's supposed to be picked up to go, they cancel.
Of course.
She's got 3 hours to get to this hearing, and it's about 2 hours away. She starts hoofing it. She gets, ironically, she doesn't know this, but about 10 minutes from the courthouse, but she's lost. She doesn't know where she's at. This is 2000s. We don't have a cell phone, and if you do, it doesn't have GPS.
Yeah, and she probably didn't MapQuest it before she left the house.
No. So she's panicking, you know, after all she's been through, you know. She's finally at the last end. She goes into a Dollar General looking for directions, and as she's asking for directions, there's a man in there that overhears her asking for directions, and his name is Ariel Castro. This is where it turns to the worst day ever for Michelle. Heavy.
It's such a dramatic build-up, honestly.
It's so bad.
I just realized I know this case.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, good.
It's
you can
bad.
shut the fuck up and let me listen.
Because they made a movie.
Don't ruin it.
I didn't know until recently.
They made a movie for this?
I
They made a movie. I remember seeing the movie. And
Did you? I haven't seen the movie. Mine is all based off of podcasts and a few articles. I wanted to see the movie. I could not get it.
Okay, I'm gonna wait until
I want to see the movie
actually
still because I'm curious what the movie put out about it. You know what I mean? One of the podcasts I actually got the research from that I'm going to play an audio clip from that's of Michelle. That's actually, they're related to Ariel Castro's ex-wife through their cousin, Greta. It was very interesting to hear them talk on the case because they bring up their personal family info that they knew. But anyway, so Michelle's at the Dollar General. She's asking for directions. She's a really short time span, panicking, desperate. Ariel Castro happens to be in the store, overhears her. He's like, hey, I can give you a ride. I know exactly where that's at. Offer. Panicked, right? I mean,
right.
What else have you got? She's
got to get her boy back,
you know?
yeah.
So she takes the ride. She gets in the car. As soon as she gets into the car, both of the knobs for the windows are missing. And we never victim blame, but let me just say, you ever get into a vehicle and there is missing window knobs or door knobs, red flag.
Or if you can't see that little lock that you can just pull up to get out, or like push to get out by yourself, like.
Yeah, so she gets in, she notices this, because she writes about this in her book. She wrote a book later. And as they're starting to drive off, he convinces her that he just needs to stop at his house real quick to check on his puppies. Because his dog just had puppies. Always puppies or candies, people.
But she's only 10 minutes away.
And she tells him this. She's like, you know, I gotta get my son back, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, oh, but I just gotta check on my puppies. They're right there. And your son would love a puppy. I'll give you one. Convinces her. So they go to his house. They show up. And he's like, the puppies are inside. Come on, come on. So they get out and they start walking in. And she sees there's a dog outside chained up. And she asks, doesn't that dog need to be with the puppies? Oh, no, she's just taking a break. Had to go to the bathroom, you know. The puppies are inside. Come on inside. He brings her inside, brings her all the way upstairs, and as soon as he gets upstairs, he attacks her, grabs electrical cords, because that is what's closest, ties her up, rapes her, shoves a dirty sock in her mouth, and leaves her there for a few hours.
So she missed her court. That was probably, I mean, with as many rapes as she survived in the past and as many abuses as she survived in the past, that's probably the only thing that like broke her.
Yep.
Was missing that court.
Joey, her son. Yep. He comes back. He decides he's not done. And he brings her down to the basement. And this is where he takes rusty chains and he wraps them around her from her knees to her chin and chains her to a pole in his basement. And then he puts a helmet over her head. So a full clothes moto helmet over her head.
And chains everywhere else. From chin to knee, or chin to ankles.
Yeah. And
that would be heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I do correct, yeah, this is August. So this is midsummer. You got a full helmet on your head, chains up to your chin.
I mean, I'd like
to think... And a dirty sock in your mouth.
The dirty sock and the helmet and the hot, that would be gross. I'd like to think it'd probably be a little bit cool or coldish in the basement.
I hope so.
But it's musty and muggy and...
True.
Take the top of the cake, he blares salsa music.
Okay, I would kill myself right then.
Salsa music.
I'm sorry, I can't stand
it.
And this will be consistent.
I know you said salsa music, and I know what salsa music is, but you said it, and my brain immediately went... Full
volume. Nonstop.
Also, what the fuck is... No, let me question this guy's mental health just for the fact that's his go-to. Like,
I fucking hate this song. Maybe they'll hate it more, like...
There's multiple reports of neighbors constantly hearing salsa music.
They thought that he just really fucking liked it?
He just really likes salsa music. You know, so that's why no one's hearing anything.
And his name's Ariel Castro, so I'd imagine he's probably got some kind of Latin, Hispanic, something
Puerto Rican.
Going on.
Specifically, he's Puerto Rican. And yeah, because his ex-wife was Puerto
Rican.
Rican.
So, I mean, they're not seeing it as like any kind of suspicious or anything. Not necessarily. They're just like, oh, you know, it's the song of his people. Like
Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, whatever.
They're confused white people that don't understand.
And mind you, Michelle's background, she's 21. She's an adult. She's not reported missing.
And I don't really think her family
not right away. She is at one point, and then
she's
actually later pulled off the list because, again, she's 21. And there's a lot of argument about her being pulled off that list because they did not follow proper procedures to properly pull her off that list. She never should have been. But she was not even known to be missing during this time because her parents didn't.
Just thought she flaked and...
Yeah, just thought she ran away. Maybe on a drug binge, mad that her kid got taken from her. She just ran off.
But did they know that she was working so hard to get Joey back?
Her friends did, and her cousin, I believe it was a cousin that she was living with, knew. And that's what Michelle was hoping, that they would know she was missing and something went wrong.
Right, because you'd think that if she didn't show up at the court or something...
The media, there was no reporting on Michelle.
Wow.
There was none. And part of her horrible torture that she went on through of hours of rapes daily, and being chained to either the pole in the basement or upstairs. He liked to chain her from the ceiling at times, hog-tied her, knees or ankles to wrist, stomach facing down.
That's the part where I was like, oh, this was a movie, because I remember seeing her chained up with the electrical cord. Like
the
that,
description
and that's how
of
he
it.
left her, was hanging from the ceiling, and she could see out windows in that upstairs room, and she was just hanging from electrical cords, and she was just...
That's gotta be such a painful position. I mean, all that pressure on your knees and your hips and your elbows
and having to
your
hold her head up and all that. Like, that's the one thing that I remember from... Like,
and then to top it off, he liked to shove a sausage McMuffin and orange juice down her throat every day to make sure she wouldn't die.
That explains breakfast.
Yeah, that was our snack for the day.
We got breakfast delivered. Thanks, Ryan. Although it wasn't orange juice, it was orange soda. But I'm okay with that because it was cool and refreshing. Which confused me, because
I don't know, because that's what the report is, like orange juice. I've never heard of McDonald's having just orange juice.
They have orange juice.
Well, they don't have it on the mobile app as an option.
Well, fuck those bitches.
Yeah, so that's why we got orange soda.
They could have been out of the concentrate for it.
Maybe that's possible. Either that, or if they, it depends on what timing they change over the mobile ordering, because you can get some of the breakfast items all day now.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, not sponsored.
But please,
that would be so.
But cool. McDonald's, don't call me.
Call me.
Call Kate.
Call me.
And now we are.
I'm a fat bitch. Please call me.
We're all fat at heart. Now we are on to our next victim, Amanda Berry.
How many victims do we have?
3.
3 victims, okay.
And Amanda Berry is 17.
When all this...
when she's taken. She was working at Burger King. It was her birthday. She almost called off her birthday. Mm-hmm. Said, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to go work. I'm going to get that money. She goes to work, and her boss ends up saying that she can go home early.
Happy birthday!
Yeah. And usually her routine is her sister, her mom, or her boyfriend would pick her up from Burger King and drive her home. Well, she gets off early. She tries her boyfriend. She tries her mom. She tries her sister. None of them are answering.
I bet they felt really guilty.
Imagine the guilt, which they shouldn't, that poor family. Well, guess who's in Burger King that offers her a ride? Ariel Castro.
Homeboy needs to get out of public places.
April 21st, 2003. When this happens. Michelle has been kidnapped for 2 years at this point.
And she's still
alive.
Wow.
Chained up somewhere in his house with salsa music blaring.
Eating egg McMuffins or sausage McMuffins. And...
Yep. Always chained. Left in the dark.
Do you think they could even eat sausage McMuffins anymore?
The trauma and the salsa music.
I would imagine smelling them would probably be pretty awful. Just like after all that.
Yeah.
Now, when he offers Amanda this ride, Amanda recognizes Ariel because she knows one of his daughters. She went to school with her.
So she suddenly feels more comfortable and safe because this isn't a stranger.
Exactly.
Oh, and he's like...
Exactly.
Easy victim.
When he gets her in the car, he says, hey, my daughter's at home. Why don't you come see her? You know, you haven't seen her since you guys switched schools and stuff. It's been like a year since they'd seen each other. I'd love to see Angie. Well, he convinces her to go to his house. We're inside, and as soon as she walks in the door, she's immediately concerned, to say the least. There is trash, there is filth, there's locks on the doors.
There's most definitely not a daughter here.
Yeah.
Why is there salsa music?
She immediately wants to
Sorry.
Why is there so many McDonald's wrappers?
I'm imagining, you know, it's she gets off of work early and she's walking up the sidewalk to his house, and in the distance all she hears
Oh, and
like a horror movie.
Joke of it. But it's just like,
let me back up a little bit.
But it is a horror movie. I mean, realistic.
It is.
Let me back up just a tiny little bit. Now, Amanda did own a cell phone. She had a cell phone because she was calling.
Yeah, this would have been early in cell
As
phones
they pull up
too.
to the house,
nice little flip
he
phones.
asked her, hey, can I use your phone real quick? She's not thinking anything of it.
He's too fucking smart.
She gives her the phone. As he's getting out of, I think it's a van, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I say vehicle because don't quote me on that. They get out of the vehicle. And he just starts making himself busy. He starts unchaining his dog and helping guide the dog into the house. As they're walking in, he still has his cell phone. When they walk in, she is concerned by the condition of the home. It is filth. It's disgusting.
So he has to use the cell phone, but he's like not actively using it.
Yes.
My response would have been like, well,
give me my phone back, bitch.
Don't you have a phone in your house?
Right. But she's 17, mind you. It's her friend's dad. And mind you, she got off work early. It's her birthday. She's just trying to have a good time. She's like, I'm going to hang out with my friend. I'm going to come home later. Exactly.
Such a cool birthday present.
She's
I get
not
to see her. I haven't seen her in years.
The condition of the home. The condition of the home freaks her out, and she wants to leave. As soon as she turns around to try to leave, he does the same thing as he does with Michelle. He immediately grabs the cords, tangles her up, rapes her, and again, shoves a dirty sock in her mouth. I want to know where these socks are coming from.
Well, his feet.
Hold on.
I mean, they say the condition of his home is absolute filth. Food,
yeah, well, you were
garbage.
saying hoarder status, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So are they just laying around, or like is he taking him off his feet? I don't know why I need to know, but I need to know.
I would imagine at some point the socks may or may not have ended up on his foot or other body parts.
But that was a signature.
Yeah, I did say that because she's saying filthy, disgusting, dirty socks. Oh my god! And he's a man that has to find and kidnap girls to rape. Like,
and I get a cum sock stuffed in my mouth, I am going to fight back so fucking hard because I want to beat this man with it.
I have established to Drew in the past, I do not want to be a hostage, and if I'm ever in a situation,
I don't think anyone wants to be a hostage.
He understands.
Okay.
But if I am ever in a situation where I am kidnapped and I can't see a way out for myself, you bet your ass I'll find a way to die.
Yeah. Is that cyanide?
Oh, look, Drano!
Yeah, no, like, I full-heartedly fucking agree with you. Like, because if I'm like, no, there's no fucking way I'm getting out of this, I would rather them have the, like, closure of she fucking fought, but she just, like, killed herself to, like, get out of this, and then have the closure, okay, she's dead, she's not suffering anymore, rather than, like, what is he doing with her?
Deep down in my soul, I don't think that I am as strong of a bitch as these ladies or as strong of a bitch as the South African survivor. There's no way I'm gonna grab my sweatshirt and hold my guts in. Like, I'm gonna pass out.
I'm gonna be like, take me now.
Yeah. How did this happen to me? And then I'm gonna just simply cease to exist.
Just lay back and just fade to black.
I'd be like, who starts? Oh, there's my neck. I'm just done.
Anyway, so now that he has Amanda chained up, tied up,
hogtied, cum-socked,
same routine. This is a 4-bedroom house.
Oh, so he's got room for friends.
He strategically keeps them separated.
Of course he does.
And they were roommates.
That explains why there was 3 victims.
They didn't meet each other for almost 2 years.
In the same
Amanda's
house.
seen Michelle once or twice, and he refers to her as his roommate. But they are never close enough to speak or talk for almost 2 years.
Wow.
He rotates them from the basement to separate rooms upstairs. I don't know if this man, I don't want to say smart, but he makes sure they could not form a hierarchy or a bond with each other or against him. That is for sure. And there's also a lot of talk of favoritism. He really liked Amanda. And at one point, he even says that he did not realize Michelle was 21. If he would have known that, he would have just raped her and let her go. He would not have kidnapped her and kept her if he knew she was an adult.
So he's a pedo on top of it all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When he first had Michelle, she was lucky enough to have a really shitty TV in her room when she would be upstairs in her bedroom up there. After he gets Amanda, he gives that TV to Amanda.
Of course, because favorites.
Yes. He, at one point, has the audacity to use Amanda's cell phone to call her mother and tell her that Amanda ran away and she's happy with him. And they're getting married. He hangs up as soon as she tries to ask to talk to her. On the sidelines, the police are like, okay, we can track this. You know, there's a cell phone. This is very early, but they can pin to a tower still at least. Yeah. So they figure out a general location of where it would have been between 2 towers. And they have it all set up where they've got cops stationed in the area. They need that phone to turn on just one more time and they can get him.
They'll get that third tower, and they'll get them their pinpoint location.
Never does. Wow. Never turns it on again.
And then also at this point, Michelle's been there for 4 years now, right?
Yep.
Damn. And nobody's
worried
about Michelle.
They got it narrowed down to a 2-block radius. They just needed that phone to turn on one more time.
Honestly, in a situation like that where it's a potential child abduction,
and it's a 2-block radius, go to every house. I'm sorry. I
You
wouldn't
got
be mad
blocks.
if the
2
cops
blocks
broke
is
down
not-
my door and they're like, we are looking for a young child. Like, go
Come
for
in,
it.
officer.
Come in,
Yes,
please. Because
like-
I would want the same done if my child was missing. Like,
exactly.
I'm sorry. Like, otherwise, I'm going to be breaking into
I don't
people's
have a
houses.
child,
Like,
but I would want the same done if your
Bro,
child
someone
was
just murdered
missing.
It's fucking over with.
Exactly.
The Someone took River. I would be fucking fighting.
So,
Oh, if somebody takes Nugget, I
I
don't
don't
have
know
to
what
worry
the
about it.
Cleveland
She'll find her way
police
back.
were
She's a
doing.
mama's girl.
Clearly nothing.
Well, she's
But-
a mama's girl that also likes faith.
They'd see River and they'd be like, this is a dumbass bitch. All right, we're giving her back.
You can have her back, yeah.
So this brings us to the third victim, Georgina. I believe it's Georgina. I seen one article that says Georgiana, but all the other ones were Georgina. Okay, we're going with Georgina.
Let's just do Georgie. Georgie's a good thing for both of them.
And Georgina, I believe, was 12?
Oh my lord.
12 or 13. Yeah. The youngest of them. And yeah, 'cause Amanda was a baby still at 17, but yeah, Michelle or Georgina.
He just kept getting younger and younger and younger.
Yeah.
And one thing that he liked to do with the girls is when he first had Michelle, before he kidnapped Amanda, he told Michelle that he would let her go in around 4 to 5 months or after he got another girl.
Just
Clearly, he
to
didn't
give
do
her
that.
hope.
Yeah, just
He
to
wanted to give her
mentally
hope,
fuck
but
her.
I mean, realistically, she's already seen his face, so there's no way she's getting out without a fight.
And then he told Amanda that she would go home 2 to 3 months after he got another girl. Well, here we are to April 2nd, 2004. And Michelle's been kidnapped at this point for about 4 years.
Okay.
Amanda's been kidnapped at this point since 2002. So 2 years.
It almost makes you wonder. So Michelle was the first one. She was 21. So she went.
But she
went
was
from
4'7", and he thought she was 15-ish. He did not know.
So he's spacing it out. He thought she was around 15. He wanted to stop her on 17. He thought she was around 16, 17. He wanted to stop. He
never comments on Amanda's age or
so
having a
this
problem.
last
They turned 18.
Yeah, so this last one, he's like, I can get more years if I take him younger. That's
Could be.
fucked up.
It could
But
be.
also
I never thought of that.
at this point, Michelle's fucking 25. She's almost 30 at this point.
Right.
How,
And I like that you bring that up because at this point, before he actually even kidnaps his third victim, like I said, the favoritism,
oh yeah,
very bad. So after he had called Amanda's mother and told her that they were getting married and she's mine now and she's so happy, he starts referring to Amanda as his wife.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at this point, she would have been 19 by the time the last one got picked up.
And he gives her Michelle's TV, he gives her art supplies, books. You know, they all had it really bad.
But she had it
obviously,
the best of the three.
But she was the favorite.
I don't want to spoil anything, but didn't it get to a point to where she had not free roam, but a lot of more?
Yes.
She had access to basically the whole house.
Yes. And I want to get into why, but I think you know why I haven't.
I'm
going to say it after.
Oh, I know. I know why.
I think
but it's just the fact that
I love the fact that I don't know what the fuck
could you
you're talking
imagine being
about.
kidnapped and then somebody else and you think
getting
I'm going to
treated
be
better.
close to this person and then watching that bitch nothing against her
Exactly, but they all
have
bad.
fucking free roam and doesn't take the opportunity to leave out that fucking fucking door and go get help because she got that Stockholm syndrome into it.
And one theory that even Amanda says herself is Amanda's blonde and blue-eyed. And at one point, Ariel makes comments about he likes blondes. That's kind of one theory.
Yeah, because Michelle was brunette.
Yes, Michelle's brunette. She's older. And yeah, Amanda's the 17-year-old little blonde, blue-eyed girl. Ariel Castro at one point says when he sees John Bonet's newscasting that he wishes he would have gotten to her. This is the type of West Sock piece of shit he is.
That is going to be another case at some point.
Oh my god,
that's the type of man we're talking about here. He said that.
So let's talk a little bit about Georgina then.
There's one little part I want to just Right before we get into that.
Okay.
He treated Michelle so poorly that when Amanda actually was first allowed to be brought into the same room and he allowed them to meet each other, Michelle was naked. Michelle wasn't even allowed to wear clothes.
Just no respect.
Left naked, chained. She had a chain around her waist and it went to the wall. That was what, at this point, because he had psychologically destroyed them so much that they really didn't even try to escape or get away.
Right.
They were just chained into a bedroom.
They lost their hope.
She's been there for years. She's like, they're like
they would
4 to 6 months went by like 4 or 5 years ago, buddy.
He would pretend to leave and then come back in. And if they made any signs of trying to move or get away, he would beat them and rape them. He, like I said, he would call Amanda's mom, say that she's fine. He would show Amanda her own news of her mom crying for her and tell her that you're never going home. He would tell Michelle, look, no one knows you're missing. No one cares about you.
Right.
Look how much love Amanda's getting.
He mentally destroyed. And then he gets another one. We get to Georgina. Georgina, like I said, she's 12. And she's walking home from school with Ariel's younger daughter.
So it's another friend of her daughter.
He has, I believe, 3 kids? 3 or 4? He has 3 daughters, 1 son.
He had
3 daughters, 1 son.
He had a lot of kids. So
Amanda knew his middle daughter from school.
Okay.
Georgina, she knows his youngest daughter, Emily. They are walking home together. She is walking home with Ariel Castro's daughter. And they're 12. They form a little plan at school. We're going to have a sleepover, yada, yada, yada. I think we all remember those days. We're going to call mom and ask, see if we can go to each other's house. They were supposed to be going to Emily Castro's mother's house. Okay. That is who had custody of Ariel's
I was going to say, the kids weren't in his house. They
yeah.
were separated, and they weren't living with each other. I know that was like the biggest thing, because I know a lot of people, when like this kind of really kind of came out to the public,
I feel like a lot of the information makes the case more dramatic, so that's why I saved a lot of it for the end, kind of, for his background. But, okay, so Georgina is walking home with Ariel Castro's daughter, Emily, and they're going to try to get permission to have a sleepover together at Emily's mom's house. They call. Mom says, no, not having it. You're funny. They separate ways, and they both go to their own moms. So,
oh man, could you imagine how the mom felt though? Like, I just let him have that sleepover.
Emily's going home to Emily Castro's mother's house, and Georgina's going home to her house. On the way, Ariel Castro drives by.
How fucking convenient.
And he sees Georgina by herself. And he rushes up to her in his van, and he says, oh my God, I can't find my daughter. Can you please help me? And she's like, I just seen her. Like, of course, like, it's Emily's dad. I mean, of course.
Right.
She gets in. I'm not sure how he convinces her to go to his home to look for her.
Because that's not where... I mean, they were like 2 blocks away from each other.
And that's
like,
not
bro,
where she's
turn
supposed
around.
to be going. But he convinces her to go into his house.
It could have been an authority thing. Like, she just could be like, this is an authoritative person. I gotta listen to every word 12. They say.
Pretty much. And I just want to say, fun fact, adults don't need help from children.
No.
Safety fact.
If it was just like,
correct.
Hey, do you know which direction she went? Oh, she went that way. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no, even that. I'm raising my daughter that adults don't need help from children.
Yeah.
Fuck that person. I'm sorry. Not sorry. If the worst thing you have is that you're mean to people and you're not helpful and that keeps you alive, perfect. Fuck those people. Adults don't need help from children. As an adult, I would never approach a child, especially a young child, and ask them for anything because I'm very aware that would make them uncomfortable. So Ariel convinces her to go inside, and again, as soon as she gets in that house, she looks around. She is like, what in the fuck? She may only be 12.
He's got to be some kind of like some...
magician
like,
to even get
to
her
be able
in
to
that
convince
house.
them to just
even get in a car and go that direction, which is also another safety.
Honestly, it's kind
you
of
can smell a hoarder house.
Bad.
If you're walking down the street, you can smell a hoarder house. I know nothing against people who hoard. I know they have mental illness, and I know that and all that kind of stuff. And there's like a whole lot of mumbo jumbo between it, but they have a smell, and you can smell it. And I know exactly. There's a few of them around here.
You just can't smell it yourself.
There's one literally right over there.
There's one across the street from me. The animal hoarders that were in the paper.
You just can't smell it yourself
you can smell their
because
house
you
when
get
the wind
so
wafts
used
that
to
way.
it. Everybody else can smell you. But if you live in a hoarder house like that for that long, like, you get used to it.
Oh yeah, you get nose blind. Like, even if you have a clean house, you get nose blind.
Exactly. Okay, so Georgina's in the house, and like, what the fuck?
Yes.
Porterville.
Like, what the fuck? He has her upstairs at this point. He leads her all the way in the front door.
Is he getting them upstairs?
And upstairs. And as she's passing the upstairs, she gets a glimpse into one of the bedroom's doors that's cracked just a little bit. And she can see it. Now, there's no lights on. It's dark in this room. There's only the light of a little TV. You can see there's a woman laying on a mattress with no sheets in a dirty room. And again, I will never victim shame anyone. This is just survival tips for hopefully future situations to keep people safe. Red flag. If there's a dirty mattress with no sheet, red flag. Leave. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Me who has no sheet currently on it because I need to wash it. Shit.
It's probably not a hoarder house with a dirty mattress.
My sheets.
And when we say dirty, I know she can't see it, but we're talking about feces, semen, blood. The odor that had to have been coming out of that room.
My mattress
to
clean.
See a woman.
My mattress only has one stain because I dropped
See?
a Brisk bottle and it emptied out onto it.
We're talking on a different level.
Yeah,
Brisk is good tea, though.
It is.
And this woman is just in a psychosis state. She's just zoned out in a dark room, sitting on a dirty mattress, filthy. She can't see the chains. But just that alone.
She just sees
and
this
I'm not
face lit up by the
She's a 12-year-old little girl. You
should have been suspicious.
Fault. But that, I'm just saying, if you ever see that, run. I don't care what you gotta do. You run, you scream, you make a fucking
kick
scene.
him in the balls and run.
Like,
literally though.
Anyways.
Aim for the groin. Aim for the groin. Fastest way to get a man down on his knees. Aim for the groin. Kick the back of the knee. Run.
It works for women too. I was watching Miss Congeniality today. You got to remember the sing technique: solar plexus, instep, nose, groin.
But
kicked really hard.
I will give Georgina this. She did notice something was a little off, and she says that she wants to leave. She needs to go.
But at this point, she's 12 years old. He's Ariel Castro, full-grown man.
He tells her.
She's upstairs.
No,
she's fucked.
It's different this time.
Oh.
He tells her, okay, but you have to leave a different way than you came. He leads her down the stairs, and he points her to a door. She opens it. They walk down the stairs. They're in his basement.
There's no back door.
Fuck.
There's no back door.
He grabs the electrical cords. He ties her up. He rapes her for 3 to 4 hours. And shoves a dirty sock in her mouth, the helmet, inserted the pole, salsa music blaring, leaves her.
So that's his brainwashing technique.
Fucking salsa music, a sock, a cum sock, and a helmet. What the fuck?
I really feel like I might make the intro to this video just really slow, dramatic, just
whatever you feel, because I don't even know with this one. It's bad. It's bad. At one point, and sorry to time travel.
They're still getting their daily.
Yep, they're still getting. That's all they get.
McMuffin and
that's all they get.
Rations.
That's
just one a day.
One a day.
That's just barely enough to keep anybody going.
This shit gets expensive because if it's McDonald's one specifically.
Well, it was the early 2000s, so it was probably costing him $2 a girl per day.
They do report there is some days where he wouldn't come home and they would just be chained alone and they wouldn't get food. But when they did get food, it was old McDonald's once a day, shoved down their throats. Because a lot of them, like you mentioned, didn't want to live at points. That wasn't an option. He shoved it down their throats. At one point, before he actually has Georgina, he buys Michelle a puppy. Because if you remember, he tells her that he was going to give Joey a puppy.
To the face.
And he does all these testing. I'm going to leave, see if you're going to try to escape, and I'm going to beat you if you do, to just really solidify that you are mine and you don't do fucking shit unless I say so. Just completely Stockholm, just break them. Well, at one point, she's like, this motherfucker wants me to trust him, and every day, I need to trust you. I need to be able to trust you. She's like, well, how can I trust you? You told me you'd get me a puppy. You never did. Where's my fucking puppy, bitch?
Right.
He gets her a puppy. She has this dog for about a year. Until one night when he comes home drunk with his old fucking McDonald's that he had bought earlier that day that he's had in his car all day waiting while he's at work. He comes home drunk and he forgets to put the dog outside before he goes to rape her. Michelle's dog. This dog spent every moment next to her in this filthy fucking room, next to her chained. She trained him in this room. This was her dog.
You're about to tell me that he fucks up and kills the dog, aren't you?
Aww.
He forgets to put this dog outside. He lunges towards Michelle, and the dog attacks him. He snaps this dog's neck in front of her, and he lays the dog on the mattress next to her while he rapes her.
Oh, man. I'm so happy to know he's dead.
At one point, he forces all 3 girls to go outside naked on leashes and dog collars. Neighbors report this. By the way, fun fact, we'll hit this again at the end.
Neighbors report this, but nobody called the fucking cops?
Neighbors also seen what they didn't know was Michelle, a woman naked outside, digging, which later she reports was her own grave.
Nobody called the cops.
Nobody does anything about it, let's say. They called.
It wasn't a great neighborhood, wasn't it?
This is Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, it wasn't.
This is the ghetto.
I was gonna say if
This
it's
is the 2000s.
the ghetto, yeah, I suppose a lot of the cops are just like, fuck that, I don't want to
It's a
go
mind
there.
your own business, or otherwise you get shot.
That
kind of.
generation
Right.
in general, that area, and
That is so fucked.
Yeah. So these women are just completely mentally broken. You just destroyed them in every way you possibly fucking could. To take the fucking cake, Amanda gets pregnant.
It's not mine.
He loves this.
Amanda was the one that he wanted.
Amanda's the wifey. He loves the shit out of this, and he starts raping Georgina and Michelle outside only at this point. They theory some type of weird respect, he thinks, to keep it outside of the home because it's his wife now.
The mother of my child.
Yeah, he can't have that in his house. He's still doing it, just not in the house.
I don't want to stress her out by hearing the screams.
And at this point, he has Georgina and Michelle in one room together, chained together. So now they get to watch each other get raped.
Well, yeah, they're going to need a room for the baby.
And like at one point, they talk about holding each other's hands in this time for support.
Honestly, if those girls don't have some kind of like lifelong bond.
Oh, they trauma bonded so hard.
Right.
When Amanda gets ready to go into labor in this filthy fucking house, he puts her in the bathroom, and then he goes and gets Michelle and says, "You come to deliver this fucking baby." Now here's a fun fact. Michelle has suffered 5 miscarriages induced by Ariel's beatings at this point. He has gotten her pregnant 5
She probably
times.
ends up with like PTSD from the blood.
Oh, I've at least just the fact that she wanted a few of these pregnancies. She tried to hide that she was pregnant twice.
Oh, the movie
and when
makes it so
Ariel
bad.
finds out she's pregnant, he starts starving her. He beats her. He finally, the 5th miscarriage is from punching her in the stomach with a dumbbell.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what the one that they show. He's like, I'm pregnant, and he just like slams.
So this movie you're
Michelle
talking about,
in
is it
her
all
book-
like reenactments?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a complete
I wanna see
reenactment
it.
of it. It's
Michelle-
very well done, and it makes.
Do you know what
it-
it's called?
I think it's like Cleveland or something.
It's Cleveland Murders or Cleveland Kidnappings, I think, or Cleveland Monster. I'll look at it later and send a screenshot to you. So you can look it up. I was just looking at it the other day. But, yeah, so he makes Michelle deliver this baby with no experience, and after suffering 5 miscarriages that he has beaten out of her, and then blamed her for losing his children. That makes sense.
As someone that's had miscarriages, multiple miscarriages,
Yeah.
that's heartbreaking.
I give you the trigger warning in the beginning. Like, I cannot imagine what that woman's state of mind was in that moment. Having that and then having to deliver a baby too. Like, you know, like I'm sure Amanda, like she, you know, I'm sure the bond they had, but still to have to do that. And to be able to do that with no experience, like when this baby comes out, it's blue. It's not breathing. And Ariel is screaming at her, if you don't fix this, if this baby doesn't live, I'm gonna fucking kill you. So she
Amanda's
has no
like-
experience. Amanda's just, I don't know, just birthed a baby laying there. I mean, she lives, so she's okay.
But if my baby dies, I'm gonna fucking kill you. That doesn't really make me think
he's
that
saying
Amanda.
to Michelle, who delivered this
it's
baby.
Ariel saying. I thought it was
if
Amanda
you don't get
saying
this
it.
baby to live, I will kill you.
Okay, I thought it was Amanda screaming that at her. I was gonna.
Yeah, no. Ariel makes Michelle deliver this baby, and when it comes out, it's blue and it's not breathing.
Okay.
He has no experience, and he's screaming at her to fix this. I'll kill you. I will kill you. You fix this. And for, they say 12 minutes, she is trying to get this baby to live. She gets it to live. It breathes and it lives. Thank God. And Amanda names it Jocelyn. It's a beautiful little girl. And at this point, it kind of touches into what Kate brought up a little bit. As Jocelyn gets older, and again, he's pretending to be this happy little family, and, you know, this is this life, and their new baby. For the first 2 to 4 years, it's kind of loose on the timeline. They keep this baby inside. They keep it hidden. They're all inside and hidden, you know? And he doesn't want Jocelyn to be afraid and to see her mom in chains, to be kidnapped and get suspicious. So he lets Amanda free roam through the house at this point. He still occasionally will lock them in their bedrooms upstairs, but he lets Amanda free range at this point.
So she's got to be full on brainwashed at this point.
And he does eventually also let Michelle and Georgina as well out, because we got a 4-year-old running around the house.
Right.
She's gonna see these other 2 women.
I suppose.
He makes them choose fake names. That way, when she does start going to school, hopefully in the future, she's not going to be like, oh, I live with Michelle Knight, and who's, these girls that are on the news is being kidnapped. So they go by fake names. And he lets them not be chained, to keep up appearances in the household for the child, to make her think it's normal. And this pretty much is their routine at this point. They, are still living in squalor. They really don't have much. They use their old dirty clothes, which are Ariel's clothes, pretty much, to make Jocelyn clothes. So they're all just doing their best for, to just focus on Jocelyn at this point. Jocelyn's the light in this situation, Beautiful little child, and Michelle's hoping, I guess, lightly that she'll see Joey again one day.
Save everything.
What else do you do in that situation? They can't even kill themselves. He won't let them.
Right.
So they're just focusing on this baby at this point. And what
that
else
must
do you
have
do?
been so hard for Michelle to experience, because
losing her own son
and seeing
the
this one in the house now.
Yeah, her whole life it was just shit.
And you said she's the one that wrote the book.
She has 2 books actually, but yeah. And then one day, Jocelyn comes running up the stairs, her mom, Amanda, and says, Daddy's gone to Grandma's house. He told me to come up here and wait. And at first they're like, okay, he does that sometimes. And usually it's a test, or the doors are locked and, you're not getting the fuck out, or he's waiting to beat you if you try.
They're used to this game.
Yeah, and he's had Jocelyn pretend to do this too, they say at this point. They've had Jocelyn go upstairs and say, Daddy's gone, and they have had the nerve to go look out a window, and he's sitting there waiting and sees them, and he goes up there and beats the fuck out of them and rapes them. So, Amanda finally, she gets the courage to go and peek out that window. Car's gone. And she thinks, Jocelyn just ran up the stairs and into my room. My door's not locked. He always locks the door. She's like, fuck it, I'm gonna try. She runs down that fucking stairs. The front door's unlocked. She gets it open.
Wow.
The only thing that's stopping her is a glass screen door with bars. She opens this door. She can see the neighbors across the street sitting on their porch, smoking some cigarettes, chilling. And she starts fucking screaming, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been kidnapped for 10 years. Please help me. Please help me. She's banging on the glass. They come running over, and it's a man and a woman, and the man starts telling her to break on the lower glass, beat on the lower panel. They start beating on it together. They get the lower panel busted out of the door. Amanda crawls out. She reaches back. She grabs Jocelyn. She rips Jocelyn out, and they take off running, and they get into a neighbor's house.
Did they say anything about the other 2 girls?
Not yet.
Wait, my friends. Like, it's not that hard.
Okay, so when Amanda gets out of this house and she gets into the safety of neighbors, before she's able to call herself, there is another gentleman that is seeing this go down, and this is his 911 call as well.
Cleveland 911, police, ambulance or fire. Yeah, hey, bro, I'm at 2207 Seymour, West 25th. Hey, check this out. I just came from McDonald's, right? So I'm on my porch eating my little food, right? This broad is trying to break out the fucking house next door to me. So there's a bunch of people on the street right now and shit. So we like, well, what's wrong with you? What's the problem? She like, this motherfucker that kidnapped me and my daughter, and we've been in this bitch. She say her name is Linda Berry or some shit. I don't know who the fuck that is. I just moved over here, bro. Sir. You know what I mean? Sir, you have to calm down and slow down. Is she still in the street? Seymour Avenue. Is she still in the street, or where did she go? Yeah, I'm looking at her. She right now. She calling y'all. She on another phone. Is she black, white, or Hispanic? She white, but the baby look Hispanic. Okay.
That was the funny part for me. I just moved here. I'm just eating my McDonald's.
I'm just eating my
Honestly,
McDonald's.
yeah. Okay, if you're calling 911 dispatch, they don't give a shit about that. Just
unless you're at a McDonald's and something's happening.
Okay. So, and then the last part to tie us up here, which is his background, which is, I feel like for me, the most shocking piece. and really makes the whole case make sense why all these girls felt so comfortable even accepting these rides from this man.
Yeah.
Ariel Castro was an elementary school bus driver.
Oh my God.
In the union for 13 years.
So he was a pedo that had access.
Mm-hmm. Amanda knew him
state-granted access.
Not only from recognizing his daughter, but Ariel was her school bus driver in middle school. Yep. Regina, same thing. She knew Ariel from the school system as well as being her friend's father.
So he just really...
They were specific targets at that point.
He did a whoopsie with Michelle.
Yeah.
And that's why he resented her, because he fucked up, and it's not like he could be like, if we...
He actually even said at the end, he actually meant to kidnap a different girl than Georgina. He kidnapped her approached her from behind, and from behind he thought she was another girl that he had been planning for the last 2 weeks to. But Georgina was actually a mistake as well. He was planning to take a different little girl.
Oh, wow.
But when he approached her and started talking to her, he just went with it.
This is convenient.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because he was playing with fire with
Yeah.
someone that knew his kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he thought it was
I'm
somebody
surprised
else.
there wasn't that connection there with the two missing people
And
being
then-
like related to people that knew.
During this whole time, there was multiple neighbors that called the police. The police were at his home 8 different times is what I could find. They would show up, they would knock on the door, no one would answer, so they just left. 8 times. The calls ranged from reports for naked women in the backyard on leashes.
So
it's
it
the
should
naked
have
fucking women in the front yard. where
naked
they're
women
like,
holding a baby in the window of the attic. Women screaming. They just
It
left.
should have been a welfare check.
wanna
They
see a
should have
picture
kicked
of the
down the
house?
door.
Cleveland, Ohio for ya.
I feel like... Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once we see the picture of like what
Just
the
the
house looked like,
house.
the front
Just the
fucking
house.
door. It's the front door.
Their bedroom doors, he cut prison slit windows into them.
Of course.
And there was padlocks on them. There was chains, big rusty chains on every door as well as padlocks.
Wow.
He Fort Knox that place.
He planned
It
that
looks
out.
like she says. If you see a picture of this house, just looking at this house, you would be concerned.
And
how
these,
the cops
and these
didn't-
girls, all 3 of these girls just willingly fucking walked in the front door.
Not to victim blame, they went into that house, but again, he was an elementary school bus driver. He was their friend's dad. He was also in a very popular Latino band who practiced at his house. Every Saturday, his band members went to his house where these women were being kidnapped and chained every Saturday. How he got away with this is they all thought he was just a little weird, just a little bit of an extrovert, and they weren't allowed to go into the basement or upstairs. They were only allowed to be in his
But
kitchen
that
or
was
his
such
living
a
room.
hoarder house. Why would his band members
Every
put up
Saturday
with
they
it?
practiced there. He practiced in local events. He, like I said, he was involved in the school. He contributed to charity. And it gets better.
Disgusting.
To go a little back to Jocelyn. There was points where people would see Jocelyn with Ariel. And he was telling people that it was his new girlfriend's daughter. So his own family, his ex-wife, his children were aware of Ariel having Jocelyn, under the impression it was his new girlfriend's daughter.
But it wasn't his daughter. It was just the girlfriend's daughter.
No, it was Amanda's daughter.
I know, but I mean, he wasn't telling people it was his daughter. He was telling people
Yeah,
it was just hers.
It was just her daughter.
Okay.
And he actually had a girlfriend. This is what shocks me.
Who the fuck would date her?
Yep, and I have a little note about that, and she says that he was the most loving man ever. He was an excellent lover,
Because
a
he's
great
taking his
father.
anger out on everybody else. Yeah.
Even his children attest to him being an amazing father. Towards the end, when his ex-wife does leave him, it's because the abuse becomes in front of the children. So they do see at the end and see that he is a horrible man. But he is excellent to all of his children. He beats his wife behind closed doors for years. He causes multiple miscarriages to his wife. His wife actually has domestic violence charges that he threatens her life and convinces her to drop, where he would have went to possibly jail and avoided all of this.
And that's the same thing
before
that
Michelle even.
That's the same thing that happened back when I told you guys about Sally and Ray McNeil.
Yeah.
If she had just not dropped
And
the
not to
charges,
victim blame.
it would have changed the difference. But it's that fear that they put into you.
They actually, the first officer that wrote up the charges for the last domestic violence charges, she tried to right then and there cancel it and get them dropped, and they refused. They told her no, that this is going to the jury. This is going to, I forget the word they used for it, which is technically illegal. Like, it's up to you to press charges. So that is how serious the police began to realize this situation was for Greta, his wife at the time. And they got to court, and she lies. She lies that he didn't do this. They have pictures. She had a brain tumor at one point that he caused, and seizures for years from a beating that he caused. And she stands in front of the court and says, "Oh, he never did a thing." And
but I mean, at that point, if they could,
she leaves with the kids, and he kidnaps Michelle, and
that's what leads into it.
If they were able to evidentially, like with evidence, prove that he caused those injuries,
there was proof.
Then they could have got her for perjury.
Yeah, they didn't though.
He
there was proof.
Come out and say that he wanted to kidnap Michelle because he wanted to replace his wife or something.
I don't know. I never heard anything. So I haven't seen the movie, so I will mention where I got. It's like 4 different podcasts. But in the court hearing, which, fun fact, he was arrested after this 911 call, and they figured this out. They find him at McDonald's. He was arrested July 26, 2013, and he pled guilty to 937 crimes, including 177 counts of kidnap, 7 counts of gross sexual imprisonment, 139 counts of rape, 1 act of criminal tools, and 3 assault. He was given life in prison plus 1,000 years.
Good.
And September 3rd, 2013, in Orion, Ohio Correction Facility, he killed himself by hanging himself. There was some rumors that it was from autoerotic asphyxiation. Thank you. Yes, that word.
He couldn't pop a boner.
But a lot of prisoners that were in the facility attest that that is not true, because they believed it, because when they found him hanging from a bedsheet, his pants were down. They said that he always wore oversized clothing. He was very dirty and scummy and never wore underwear. And it's very common for your pants to fall down just when you kill yourself. And he just wasn't wearing underwear because he was a gross, wet sock piece of shit human being.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was not.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
That's not how I
it
want
wouldn't
somebody
surprise
to find
me if he had
hanging dick out.
It wouldn't surprise me if he had a little bit of help from, somebody hanging himself there.
You deserve it.
But who would admit that? Because realistically, when it all comes down to it, he's a pedo, and they hate pedos in prison.
Yep, exactly.
They took no time at all to kill Dahmer.
And then Michelle did get out, and she wrote 2 books. One is called Finding Me. One is Life After Death. And she did change her name to Lily Rose Lee. She actually does talk about how she does have a great bond with the women, but actually she took a distance from them and no longer speaks to them because she needs to mentally heal herself.
They had that bond together, but I mean, you can't hang on to that for the rest of your life. You've got to acknowledge that that is a part of who you are now and get past it.
And then,
were you able to find the title of the movie, Kate?
It's Cleveland Abduction.
Cleveland Abduction. Okay, I gotta look that up.
And then she did get to see Joey again one time, but she did not get Joey back. That's sad. At this point, Joey was a teenager.
Right, I suppose she was captured for like 10 years.
2013, she was kidnapped in 2001.
Yeah.
I'm sure he thought that
she ran off. Everyone let him drug binge that she ran off, which is really sad. But it's actually a huge attest to Michelle, the type of person that she is, because when she did get out, her lawyer was the one to tell her that, he had a foster family, he's doing great, he loves them, that's the family he's always known at this point.
She probably just wanted to meet him, but not take him away from
because she was never around to give any say. It was a closed adoption, and they didn't want Joey to see her. So she didn't actually get to see Joey until he was an adult. He chose to at one point, and she said that she was okay with that, and she understood, and she never tried to fight it. That she was glad that he had a good family.
I totally understand that.
Because at that point, she's not trauma dumping on this kid. I haven't seen
as a mother though. That's your baby though. So
right, but I
have to attest to her to be able to do that. Because it's one thing to think it and say it, to be able to let go of your child. Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
and put
at
that child
point,
before you. Not a lot of parents do. So props to her after everything to okay with that and be able to accept at least that
Right.
that's how that went. She got kidnapped the day she was supposed to get her son back.
Yeah.
And she finally gets freedom.
I don't want you to think I'm making excuses here, son, but I literally could not.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's sad that he thought that she just left.
yeah.
It was.
But yeah, that's the tale of Ariel Castro and the piece of shit he is. Goodness, it was long. I can't talk anymore.
That's okay, I understand. So we're going to change up the doozy scale for this one. It is going to be kind of a doozy scale, but rather than rating it on a scale of 1 to 5 doozies, we are going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 dirty, wet, crusty-ass socks that we're going to shove in Ariel's mouth, even though he's already dead. But
and I'm sorry, I do have to mention, I did get most of this research from Morbid and Rosella Etrin. We can type that somewhere in the description.
It will be in the description along
That
with
is a
links
podcast.
to their podcasts because they are sources, so that's part of our source notes.
And that one is the one that I mentioned that has family ties through Greta, which was Ariel Castro's wife.
Okay.
So they had a little bit more insight.
So the person running the podcast was actually in
Both
on
of them.
it.
They're
Not
sisters.
in on it,
They're
but they
sisters,
close
actually.
enough
So
to the
both of the
story to
girls-
get more info.
Yeah, Greta was their cousin. Their second cousin is how it was. So their mother's cousin was Greta's brother.
That's an interesting insight that you'd be able to get on a very intense case. So I would highly recommend probably listening to that one.
Yes.
I know I will.
Very long. They actually go into 8 different episodes of him. Actually, they break it up.
Yeah.
Each one is about 45 minutes.
Okay.
You want the details? That is where to get it.
That's pretty intense.
I do recommend watching the movie if you
Yes,
want.
I have every
Trigger
streaming
fucking
service but that one, apparently.
Which
one?
one? Streaming service?
It came up on like Lifetime or Prime to buy it, I think.
We'll figure it out and we'll let you know. But congratulations on your first case.
It was so
Faith.
heavy. But it was
okay.
survival.
You got to start
Some
out
bad
intense. Yeah, some bad bitches.
Or some bad bitches.
Well, thank you. So we will see you guys next week for hopefully something not quite as intense, because boy, that was a tough one. Bye.
Bye.